Hi, I'm Steve Dudley, and this is my Project CSS webpage. And this is the basic format I'm using for it. This is a two-column layout I'm going to use. You can see the font family, the color scheme. Basically, just by looking at this, you get a general idea what I was kind of going for. And as you can see, I got the nav bar, the top header, bottom footer. Just a very basic two-column website. Let's take a look at the code here. This would be the style sheet or the external CSS. So this is our most general basic rule that goes for all the internal or all the HTML files. And right here would be an example of an internal CSS code, and this would actually override the external or the CSS. So any rule I put in here that would conflict with this, it would just override it. And then as you can see, the style here would actually be an example of an inline. So this would actually be inline or affect the text directly. So this would override anything that would happen with the internal text CSS code. So this would override that, and this would actually override the style sheet or the external CSS. And here we're actually going to take a look at an example of a span, which actually, unlike a div, instead of seeking out an entire chunk like the content of the page, as you can see here, you have your ending of the div and the beginning of it, which shows the basic resume and everything that is in that one big chunk of the website, whereas the span right here is used mostly to highlight specific things. So my future goals right there, as you can take a look at, is just one specific thing, whereas the div would actually be this entire content you see right there. So your headers and everything else in that. And like I showed before, my divs are basically my content. So you can actually see the ID specifically for those divs, which take up the big chunk. So everything that is in this div actually shows up in the web page just right here. So that's basically my big content or the big block and chunk that was taken off for this. And the div has a specific ID, and the difference, there are two things you can use to actually label or section off things, and that's ID and class. And IDs are specific, as in they are unique, and you can actually only have, each element can only have one ID. Each page can only have one element with that ID. Classes are not unique, though, as you can use the same class on multiple elements, and you can actually use multiple elements on the same, multiple classes on the same element. And as you can see, this is my basic CSS web page for Web for Business. And everything seems to be in order. Well,